Now, what was meant to be a picture-perfect vacation in the hills of Pahalgam has turned into a nightmare. Innocent tourists have been shot, and they've been shot in cold blood. And Pakistan, like clockwork, has reached for that usual toolkit to deny, to deflect, and to disown. And this is not new. From Mumbai 2008 to Kargil, from Abbottabad to Dhaka, the pattern of Pakistani posturing is so familiar, it is practically scripted. And now the centre is also admitting at this time, and it has been reported in the Times of India, that yes, there was a security lapse. Troops were not deployed because the route was technically closed ahead of the Amarnath Yatra. Tourists have begun arriving weeks earlier than was expected, and this is courtesy some overly enterprising tour operators who skipped the memo. So the result, unguarded pilgrims and a tragedy that has shaken the nation. Meanwhile, in what can be termed as a symbolic move, India has suspended the Indus Waters Treaty that we've been discussing, but the opposition wants to know, where is the storage capacity? Where is the actual pressure really building on Pakistan with this? Where, in short, they're asking, is justice for the families who've lost precious lives? And what would real punishment for Pakistan look like? With us to decode the geostrategy, the symbolism, the very real stakes for India, is Professor Madhav Nalapat. He is the Vice Chair of the Manipal Advanced Research Group, and joining him in a short bit, retired Major General Sanjay Soy, Defence Analyst and former Commanding Officer. He is with us right now. Great to have you with us, Mr. Soy. Welcome to India tonight. From a security operations lens, where we are trying to peg accountability, wouldn't it be fair to ask, how did such a gaping lapse occur? Shouldn't the army, local forces, shouldn't they have flagged early tourist arrivals even before troops were deployed?
Absolutely, Vikram. I would say, and government has also admitted that there has been a lapse. But is it a security lapse? Is it an administrative lapse? That has to be seen. Because we are deployed on the border. We are carrying out operation. In fact, if you see at present also, there was an operation in Punch area, there was an operation in Uri area, there was an operation in Kuldam area, there has been a ceasefire violation by Pakistan. So number of operations are going on, and two terrorists were killed day before. So again, those two terrorists also could have been carried out something on operation, something on the lines of Pahalgam. Now, what has been brought to the notice is that this route was opened because this is a remote area. This is a mainly trekking area. People go by pony. It is a slightly on the remote area, 6.5 kilometers, about 2.5, 3 hours it takes to reach. So this was not open, not cleared by the civil administration. However, maybe in the exuberance, the tour operators and the dhaba guys, the guides, the ponywalas, they started working and they took the tourists. Tourists, of course, goes from all over India and actually all over world. Last year, only 2 crore 35 lakh tourists have gone to Jammu and Kashmir. In Kashmir alone, 35 lakh thousand tourists have gone. 35 lakh tourists had gone, and 43,000 were foreigners. So they won't know what are these implications. If the guide says, "Sir, let's go there. That is a beautiful place," they'll go there. And it seems that this is a very, very well-planned attack, keeping in view the remoteness of the area, because the medical supplies will not be able to reach, the security forces will not be able to respond, and they will get a good time to get away after committing the crime. So this is a very well-planned, thought-out, heinous crime committed by the terrorists. And I would say, yes, there is a failure, but Vikram, I would also like to add here that security forces prevent 100 events, but one event, yes, very unfortunate, but one event happened, and that is where probably the whole limelight goes. But yes, we cannot say that there is no security left. We should prevent this also, Vikram.
Indeed, there's no taking away from that, and accountability needs to be pegged because innocent lives have been lost, and it's almost like a recurring theme. Many are kind of making comparisons with the Mumbai attack as well. Professor Nalapat is also with us. Professor, what message does this attack really send to the world about this continued use of terrorism as state policy by Pakistan? Now, the Pakistani side is admitting to it as well, and very openly at that. There is a denial on one side, but there is acceptance that this dirty work has been done by Pakistan, and this has happened over a period of time. How can India better shape that global narrative now, considering that Pakistan seems to have got this spotlight after all that attention had been completely taken by the tariff wars and how India was trying to get a good trade deal with the United States?
Look, don't forget that for more than a decade, I used to write a regular column in the Pakistan Observer. I have very good sources in Pakistan. And may I say one thing? The army establishment is in panic because we got Tawahur Rana in our custody. Tawahur Rana is the keeper of so many secrets, and the Pakistan army is now petrified because once the secrets known by Tawahur Rana start come tumbling out, there is no denying the fact by anyone that Pakistan is a terror state. Like Syria, like other terror states, Pakistan is now a terror state. And that is what is motivating the Pakistani people to, frankly, they are very upset about it. Their livelihoods are getting completely smashed. The middle class is being squeezed. The elite is mostly in London, Miami, Washington, New York, all the hot spots. I mean, enjoying what these hot spots provide. So the reality is, Pakistan is very close to collapse. And I can tell you, if the secrets of Mr. Tawahur Rana, again, I'm using the word Mr., I would like to be gentlemanly, I'd like to be courteous. That's our Bharatiya style. But I would like to say that they're trembling, frankly, at what he will reveal. And that is why they're desperate. They're desperately searching for a way of getting him back. And I think, this is a kind of a signal that they're running out of patience. I think I don't believe that Prime Minister Modi is the kind of Prime Minister who will send Tawahur Rana back after so long. And after that, I can tell you, Pakistan will know where to guide. And when I say one thing, the Pakistan has nowhere to hide, but the reality is that there should be a seamless logistical chain from the US to India. And I have been advocating this for a long time, a seamless chain. I've been talking in terms of the threat from the northern neighbor, which I know is an active threat and which our armed forces have faced and prevailed, frankly. Our northern neighbors' troops are scared of Indian troops. They're scared of our Navy and Air Force because the spirit of our Army, Navy, and Air Force is 10 times what their own spirit is.
So
And
at
that
this
is the
point in
point why
time, we
they're
are talking
using
real
the
logistics,
Pakistan state.
Professor. Professor, we're talking real logistics at this stage. How equipped is India if China decides to step in and support Pakistan in case we decide to address this militarily?
I'm sorry, they will not do it at this point in time. They're already engaged on a very big front, the Trump administration front. They have been, when you're talking about the tariffs, and some people have been moaning about US tariffs, look at the tariffs on China. Look at the tariff escalation on China. Look what the Trump administration is doing on China. They're obsessed with that. And they will not want to open a second front. So let me tell you, I don't think that the Chinese, and again,
But
I'm someone who has gone to China more than many, many times. And I can tell you very clearly that this is not a time when they will actively
Professor,
intervene on behalf of Pakistan.
how does this incident really help Pakistan? You said they've been painting themselves into a corner and they are desperate. But how is that event, now the one in Pahalgam, is it really helping Pakistan or is it turning the tide further away from it? Help us understand this.
Let me tell you very clearly, the Pakistan military has long since lost any sense of rationality and reason. It is not helping. It is proving to be a disaster because now what Mr. Rana will reveal is now coming true in Technicolor. The Pakistan army, several corps commanders are opposed to Asim Munir. and the corps commanders have given permission for a civilian official to say that the Pakistan, in effect, that the Pakistan was responsible for this particular attack. That has
Well,
happened only because the corps commanders have said enough is enough. Asim Munir ran this operation on his own. He did not consult the corps commanders. And in Pakistan, the army chief must have the corps commanders on his side. When he conducted this operation, now revealing the details is a sign that he did it as a solo operation. And that's why, from the beginning, I have said
yes.
this was a command performance by China.
But the
It
playbook
is
is the
not the
same.
army.
But Professor, the playbook seems to be the same. And let me ask Major General Soy about this as well. Because if you talk about the TRF, which is the LET by another name, the Lashkar-e-Toiba, which we've seen this rebranding trick play out before as well. So what's the military reality across the line of control right now? These camps, are they still active? Is movement still happening? Because there are accountability measures that one needs to take on the Indian side as well. The lapses need to be gotten into, and we need to kind of find a resolution for it, don't you think?
Absolutely, Vikram. In fact, I would like to add a couple of things which Dr. Nalapat has said. Very right, he has very rightly brought out. Other angle of this attack could be the Pakistan army was losing credibility. They had lost all the respect. In fact, if you see after the Imran Khan, the way they had entered corps commanders out, the way they had ransacked the army offices, and then after that, now they are getting beating in Balochistan, they are getting beating in by TTP. I mean, everywhere they are not able to perform professionally. And on the other hand, the people know that what kind of corruption they are into. That their children are studying abroad, as Dr. Nalpad had also brought out, that they have their people, families studying in US, UK, all over. So common people understand now, and they have lost all the respect. So maybe to draw attention every time they are into a weaker spot, they are in tight spot, they rake up the Kashmir issue. And if you see his speech, Asim Munir's speech, couple of days back, 3 4 days back, where he had raked up the two nation theory, Hindu Muslim and Kashmir as a jugular vein. I mean, again, he's bringing out the same, maybe which Ziaul Haq had done, that kind of thing, trying to raise the religious angle,
Yes,
trying to raise the Kashmir angle, and trying to raise the two nation theory.
exactly.
So you are saying something, Vikram?
No, I was just saying that this is exactly the playbook that gets repeated, and given Pakistan's denials, its admission as well, going by all the past experiences, now we need to answer the question, what form could justice take for the victims of Pahalgam? Is it going to be overt
Yeah.
action? Are we looking at
Yeah,
cross-border strikes? Are we looking at acid targeting? How exactly are we looking
yeah.
at getting back at them?
That's right. Now, basically, there are 3 4 things which have to be done immediately. Number one, get all of these terrorists who carried out, eliminate them. Yes, that is a very small thing, but it will be done and it has to be done. There is no question of. Then, second thing, which Prime Minister has also brought out, that identify the OGWs and sleeper cell who have provided support to these militants, because they cannot reach on their own from border to Pahalgam. They would have got some shelter while they carried out the recce and all that, because these OGWs have to be taken care of, because if they are taken care of, militants will stop getting support, and about 50 to 60% battle would be won. Thirdly, the Pakistan army, which you have brought out and Dr. Nalpat has also brought out, is the key person. They are like head, and they are all pawns in their hand. They are all like fingers. So they are being used, militant organizations are being used, whether it's LET or TRF or JEM, whatever organizations are there, they are being used by ISI and Pakistan army. So ultimately, unless Pakistan army feels the punch, if they pay the price, unless their body bags start going home, unless they know that POK is under threat, all these things will, Pakistan army will lose their credibility further, and probably that's the only way. And when they become weaker, all these organizations will feel that, I mean, our AKA has become weak, our is getting punished, and then where are we?
But
And
Major
at the
General,
same
isn't it
time, we
also
have,
true that Pakistan would thrive whether or not it wins or loses any of these battles that may be fought, it's a defense establishment that the spotlight remains on. Even if they lose, they'll say, well, we need more defense. And that's how Pakistan has been able to continue what they have been doing. Many would argue this.
Look, I would like to tell you that in this situation, the end game has got to be Bangladesh of 71 getting repeated by Balochistan, Pashtunistan. I am in touch with the Pashtuns, and they are extremely agitated, and they have launched a violent movement. The Balochis have launched a violent movement. There are large parts of Balochistan that are completely outside the control of the Pakistan army. They cannot even send trains there. They cannot send trucks there. And their soldiers are taken out, identified, and killed. So they're now going around as civilians. And if they are caught as Pakistani soldiers, well, heaven help them. I don't think the Baloch or the Pashtuns are in any mood to. And we are talking about Pakistan Army's creations. The creations are turning on them. Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Kaun banaya? Who made the Taliban? It was done, well, of course, the one Assistant Secretary of State who was very pro-Pakistani, pro-Wahhabi, Robin Raphael. She joined in the act. Unfortunately, the US was completely on the side of this horrible creation of a terror state. But that's how Taliban came.
But Professor, wouldn't you agree that at this point in time, India is the victim?
There's no question about it.
So
and the point is,
yes, go ahead.
The point is that this is the time for the dismemberment of Pakistan. And believe me, the military there is detested. And essentially because it's an ethnic military run by people from a single province and a single part of a single province.
But how is that going to help us?
Pointed out several times.
But Professor, how is that going to help us? How is that going to help us?
Because once you have separate states, is the Taliban regime in Afghanistan trying to be a threat to India? They're sending people there, and they are welcoming better relations with India publicly, not privately, not to you or me or to somebody in secret. They're saying it publicly. India is our friend. So what a change.
But
so I can tell you, believe me, if once the Pakistan military collapses, that is the anti-India force. Pakistan, frankly, the anti-India forces are very weak because everybody now recognizes partition has harmed the Muslims the most. And when I say the most, I mean the Muslims in Pakistan. They finished off the minorities, but the Muslims themselves are in such bad shape.
But Major General, let me take it across to you. How are we going to see this military establishment get disarmed to an extent where this kind of state-sponsored terror stops?
Absolutely. Vikram, what happens, like what I was coming to, that next would be the military start getting casualty. They being hammered. And at the same time, the launch pads have to be taken care of. We need not do the physical attack. Now we have the drones, we have the missiles, we have the air force. We can carry out attacks with the help of on the launch pad and their camp, whether it is in Bhavalpur or in Muridke. At the same time, what Professor Nalapat has brought out, that though officially we are not doing it, but we have to support Balochistan, the fight of BLA as well as TTP, because that is where probably Pakistan army at present is not able to control them. They are suffering heavy casualties. They have been their posts are being attacked. They dare not enter those areas. They are scared to go to those areas. In fact, one of their MPs have brought out there are a lot of areas which are not under control of Pakistan government or Pakistan army. So that is where probably Pakistan army has to get involved, has to remain involved on the Western Front. One of their defense analysts had also brought out today, I was listening to that they are more concerned about Western Front than the Eastern Front, which is India. Pakistan's Eastern Front. So India, they know, will not carry out such, I mean, especially Punjab and all. Our aim is to take back POK. I think as they remain busy in Western Front, we got to make an endeavor to keep the pot boiling in POK, because at this point of time, what we call it in Hindi, Sam Dam Dand Bhed, all is fair in love and war. So we have to do it. And in POK, the people are already restless. They have seen the development, they have seen the peace, they have seen the prosperity of Kashmir. So they are restless. They themselves, in a maybe couple of years' time, would like to join India voluntarily. That is where probably we need to work on those lines.
Meanwhile,
Also,
meanwhile,
Vikram.
meanwhile, we are looking at the Indian government going after some moves which the opposition party is calling symbolic. The suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty. They're asking, why is India doing this when India lacks storage capacity of its own, Professor? Would you say that we should have first built the capacity, the capability, before we start flexing this?
Look, is anyone suggesting that the Pakistan army should remain nourished with crops from the Pakistan side? I mean, I can't understand this kind of reasoning. Absolutely. The reality is the Indus Water Treaty cancellation is a body blow to Pakistan. And people have been talking about that as well inside Pakistan. Look at the disaster that has come upon us because of these wretched people in khaki. And they're turning against the people in khaki. They've started attacking the people in khaki. So many changes are coming. That's what I'm saying. That now I can tell you one kick and this whole rotten edifice will start to come crumbling down. That one kick is essential. And believe me, Mr. Rana will provide enough evidence so that even countries in the world that want to back, and may I say that Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
under the Crown Prince of Mohammed bin Salman, is anti-Wahhabi. I applaud and salute Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for being the
Do you
first
expect them to stand with us,
to be
Professor?
anti-Wahhabi.
Do you expect these countries, whether it's the Gulf, the United States, to stand with us in case there is a military strike option that India exercises?
I believe that yes, they will, because today the terrorist comes against India, tomorrow it comes against the US. About Canada, I'm sorry, I cannot say. Carney so far has proved to be just like Justin Trudeau, and that is actually very damaging to very, very damaging.
Major General, let me just take it across very quickly since we're running out of time. Major General, tell me, what do you think justice would truly mean for the families of those killed, beyond compensation, beyond condolences? What can the Indian state do to deliver closure now?
Absolutely. I would say all kinds of action, 3, 4 action already there, diplomatic, in the water treaty, and now the kinetic action has to be there because message has to be given. And in case there is a repeat of such action, again, quick repeat of kinetic action, physical attack by missiles, drones, and air force, and if need be, get hold of some post from where we capture some posts from where they come and cross over to India, cross over to Kashmir to carry out the heinous crimes. That is I think, so that we do not lose more lives. 26 precious lives have been lost. We do not want a single additional life to be lost. I think
Indeed.
that will be the
Yes.
biggest condolence.
Well, yes, this tragedy has reopened a familiar wound. It's of state-sponsored terror. There are hollow denials, there is strategic ambiguity as well. But if justice must look different this time, then so must India's playbook. Whether it is water or weapons or words, deterrence is only going to work when it is backed by sustained intent. And the time for symbolic gestures seems to be over. The world is clearly watching. But very importantly, so are those grieving families. Professor Madhav Nalapat and Major General Sanjay, thank you very much for joining us on India Tonight.